We welcome Gideon Sa'ar, member of the Security Cabinet in the Emergency Government and former Minister of Justice, joining us from Jerusalem. Thank you so much for your time. Now, it's been more than 5 weeks.
Thank you for inviting. Good evening.
Thank you. It's been more than 5 weeks, as you well know, since the Hamas terror onslaught in southern Israel. Worries right now up north as to whether Hassan Nasrallah will get fully involved. Should Israel conduct a preemptive strike against Hezbollah? Should Israel strike there first and strike hard?
No, we decided in the Security Cabinet to concentrate on the southern front, on defeating Hamas, returning our hostages back home, and defeating Hamas, eliminating its governmental and military capabilities. And that's what we're doing over the last 5 weeks. We are ready in the north, and we are reacting to every provocation of Hezbollah. We act decisively, and we do what we have to do, but we don't have an intention to initiate a full-scale war in the north. Of course, it can happen, and we will be ready and prepared to do what we need to do if that will happen, but it is not our objective.
You made mention of the hostages, of course, top of mind for everyone in the country, but Israel has made it clear there'll be no ceasefire until the hostages are released. Now there are these reports of a possible deal involving the release of women, not all the hostages. Should Palestinian prisoners be released if it comes to that? What is your take on the best way to secure the freedom of all the hostages?
I will not get into details of what kind of possible deal you can have. I don't think it helped to bring even one kidnapped citizen or a soldier back home, but we will do our efforts in all possible tracks in order to get our people back home. What Hamas did, of course, is war crimes. They kidnap babies of 9 months. They kidnap little children, they kidnap old people, 85, 86 years old. It's horrible, it's unbelievable, but it's not a surprise to anyone who knows this murderous organization and its objectives. We are committed to bring back home our hostages, and we are concentrated on doing so.
Certainly something the whole nation is hoping for right now. Let's take a look at the day after in Gaza, when this war is over. What kind of security involvement should Israel have, and what do you say to those suggesting the Palestinian Authority could be involved realistically? Your thoughts?
I think we are, of course, thinking and dealing with this issue, but I think it's really too early to speak on the day after. We are right now in the middle of a war. It will continue for a while. We are decisive to meet our objectives, our goals, and this is the most important thing right now. About the Palestinian Authority, we have here some realistic questions. First of all, whether the PA, which is not very capable to control over its territory in Judea and Samaria, like in Jenin, for example, how they can control Gaza Strip. It seems, first of all, just not so realistic. Second thing is the moral problem we have with an authority that pay money to murderers or to families of terrorists according to the crimes they did. An authority that is conducting incitement in large scale in its schools, in its textbooks. And this is something that is very severe, because it's already poisoning the new generation. I think, speaking about the day after, we must think of a way how to build a new generation without this poison, without this hatred, without this beliefs to kill Jews and destruction of the Jewish state. And I'm not sure the Palestinian Authority is the right partner in order to do so, according to our experience with the Palestinian Authority over the last 30 years.
So who is the right person or entity or nation to be involved in some kind of transition period then?
It's a heavy thing that we are a heavy thing to think about. Of course, we have our Arab neighbors, which we would like to be also partners to solutions, like the Egyptians or maybe the Saudis and other nations that would like to be partners to the day after efforts reconstructing a Gaza Strip or trying to help build a different future for Gaza Strip.
We certainly will have to wait. Continue.
Sorry?
Continue.
Now, of course, we will have to think about our regional partners, and ultimately we will have to think about local partners inside Gaza Strip. But I would say they must be partners which were not involved in the past in terror and incitement.
We certainly are going to have to wait to see reliable partners in that process. As you say, it's a while down the line. An emotional issue now. What do you think could happen after the war in Gush Katif? The Israeli army removed 8,600 Jewish residents from their homes back in August of 2005. Those communities were demolished as part of the unilateral disengagement from Gaza. What is your response to the calls right now? Many suggesting Jews go back to resettle there after the war. Do you support these calls?
First of all, this is the most amazing thing, to think that our enemies in Gaza Strip did all they did after we withdrew totally 18 years ago from Gaza Strip, took out all our communities, our settlements, our military bases, even the graves were taken out at that time. And it just demonstrates how much we had an enemy that is concentrated more on the hatred towards Israel and its dreams to eliminate Israel than in the future of its own people. With regard to your question, I must tell you that as a young MK at the time, I opposed the disengagement from Gaza Strip when it came in the year of 2004 to the plenum to vote. I thought it's not wise to do such a dramatic step in a unilateral way. And I think time had taught us that it was really a mistake, as I thought then. But I'm not sure it is realistic today, to say the least, to think about rebuilding our settlements in Gush Katif. I think we have other objectives there, and it is not part of the objectives that the Security Cabinet had drawn.
I want to move on to the many questions that still exist into the massive intelligence failure from the 7th of October. The Washington Post reporting today that Hamas terrorists had planned to reach the West Bank. In doing so, they would have united the two Palestinian fronts. As the former Justice Minister, when should there be an investigation that should look into this, and what should it look like? A state inquiry, a government inquiry? Your thoughts?
We will have to investigate deeply what happened that brought us to this catastrophe of October 7, with all the relevant dimensions, policy, operational, intelligence, and we will have to do it after the war. And I don't think it is constructive right now when our all efforts are to meet our objectives in the battlefield, to bring back our hostages, to deal today with these investigations. I can assure you that we will do whatever is needed after the war to learn every lesson that the nation needs to learn after this horrible October 7th.
It certainly is, and it's an emotional time for everyone across the spectrum as well. But whether it is going to be found, it was the intelligence echelon, the defense establishment, the chain of command, whatever it is, and you're right, it will take time. The investigation will unfold. There is one captain of the ship. Does Benjamin Netanyahu need to take responsibility regardless? Can he survive politically after this war?
I will not deal in any way with politics today. On October 7th, I was in the opposition, and during this Shabbat, I decided immediately that we don't have, as an Israeli patriots, any other alternative rather than join the government and in this hard time for our nation and for our country. So right now, it's not the time to deal with politics. Right now, we are working together, like the soldiers are fighting together inside Gaza Strip. We are working together in order to do the best for our country in its hard moments.
Very briefly, we only have a few moments left. This is a nation in trauma, clearly emotional situation for everybody. What is the message you have for the future in terms of speaking to the nation? What message would you share right now?
The message I will send is the importance of unity. It is something that we can find these days in an amazing way among our soldiers, the determination to find and to do whatever is needed, to risk their life in order to meet the objectives that we put to this war in Gaza. It is something which should cause us a lot of pride. And the lesson everywhere is the unity of our people, as much as our fighters, our soldiers, our sons are fighting together. Let's do it in the national level. Let's do it as brothers and sisters. Let's do it in the political level. This is the most important thing that gives us strength during these tough days.
Israeli minister and member of the Security Cabinet in the emergency government, Gideon Sa'ar, live from Jerusalem. Thank you very much for speaking to us on i24 News. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.